So basically, when you received all the poetry, you went through it and you chose the ones that you felt that you wanted to work with, that brought across the message that you wanted to bring across.
Yes, I had to figure out what a message would be that would be consistent with her philosophy and mine, and also work for the concert, and then select the poetry that would work and how it would work and how the poems would work and also how they could be sung, because some poetry can be sung and some can't. And the ones I picked for sure were very singable. I mean, I adapted the little bit I needed to, but it was there.
And how did you choose the different singers that came? Because it was so poetic and beautiful.
Well, I got very lucky with that. And at one point, I was thinking of 3 or 4 singers because the songs seemed like they'd be so different from one another. And in looking for somebody to demonstrate these and also to possibly to sing them, I found somebody up there in Portland whose name is Mel Kubik, and she was just wonderful, and she did all the 5 songs for my first demonstration disc with a wonderful rock quartet that we put together, she and I together. I really didn't have to coach her. That's never happened to me on any of my songs. I always have to say, well, you know, if you sing, I mean, of course, eventually I may be shaded her a little, but on that first reading, everything was just so there that I didn't have to give her any guidance to speak of. This is an incredible break. Where are you going to find that? And that was in Portland. It wasn't that logical a place, but it turns out they have a lot of music and a lot of different kinds of music. A lot of talent up there.
So from the point of conception to actually performing it that evening, what was that like?
It was about 8 months. The most difficult time was the first 2 months working out the script, the libretto as it were, because I wanted it to make sense, and I knew it was going to be not as accessible as Phantom of the Opera. I mean, you know, it wasn't going to be that obvious. But I still wanted it to be inherently have a strong message that would have meaning for the people who would listen to the lyric and who would think about it. And that took a long time because there were so many considerations that I've described already. And then the rest of it was, you know, back and forth between performing these things myself to so that they could be heard by me and then by the organization, and writing it and orchestrating it. It was wonderful. I loved it. It got me very deeply into my music, and since I do so many different things, it was particularly exciting for me to be able to stretch out and spend that kind of time on something that was so art-oriented and so message-oriented.
Right. What are your thoughts on Supreme Master Ching Hai, now that you have performed this piece and knowing her music and poetry?
Well, I find her an extraordinary person. The kind of time and love that she gives for all of her humanitarian efforts and her artistic efforts is really remarkable and unusual. Not that many people have that combination of instincts and impulses that she does. And the poems continued to get deeper as I worked with them. And sometimes, you know, it goes the other way. You can feel like the work is getting more and more shallow because there isn't enough there. And here, they not only remained deep, but they continued to get more multidimensional. I just found myself feeling privileged to be able to work with her through these poems, because we didn't work together. You know, she travels so much, and I just had the poems to work with. I didn't get to collaborate with her, but I felt like it was a true collaboration.
Oh, for sure. It was so amazing. Are you satisfied with the piece, Seeker, and how it came out?
Yes, very much so. Of course, you always want to do the next piece. And what it did for me was to make me realize that this kind of work must be a part of my life from now on, because it's a way that I can give, just as when I teach and write my books. I feel like I'm really contributing to the lives of other people. And of course music can do that too. Look how we all respond to Beethoven's Ninth so many decades later.
So tell us more about how you felt performing and what it was like performing the piece, Seeker.
Well, you know, I had forgotten to even mention that. I'm glad you asked, because remember, my roots are playing trumpet. And now and then throughout the years with my film work, I've taken the opportunity when I've seen it to write myself into the scores. Infrequently. I always had a good time, but here I really wrote a significant solo part for my trumpet and flugelhorn, and of course, that caused me to get very deeply involved in both the mechanics and the art of playing an instrument. Because sometimes a long time can go by when I don't play, when I'm doing other things. And I loved it. The orchestra starts out, and I was standing right in front of them, and really, this is a cliche, but the hair does go up on the back of your neck. Take it from me. It's just thrilling, to be in front of a boys' choir and a rock group and an orchestra of that caliber. And also, because I wrote it for myself, I knew exactly what I would enjoy doing, and when I was stuck while I was composing, I would remember that it was for me, and I would adjust the solos so that I would have things that I would be able to be contributive with. So it was tailor-made for me and for my impulses, but based on the composition. And I just had a wonderful time with it. I did practicing for it, which I did, of course, and performing. It was really fun.
What's it like at the moment when the audience has applauded and you've finished the piece? What's that like?
Well, it is very exciting, but you know, after a 40-minute performance, there are so many other emotions that flood through you. I mean, one of them is we made it, you know?
Right, yeah.
I mean, 40 minutes, that's very demanding. I mean, think of all the forces, the vocalists, the actors, the boys' choir, myself. And so it becomes a mix. It becomes a sound montage and a psychological montage. You're hearing that, and it becomes an underscore, as it were, for some of these other feelings that are flooding you, you know, which is I had a lot of pride for all the people who performed with me. I just thought they all did so well. And that's a heavy emotion. I mean, I felt a lot. And then, you know, Supreme Master was there, and that was, as I say, an honor. And I could see her from where we were, and it seemed like she was enjoying this. She was bouncing up and down during the heavy rock piece, and that pleased me a lot because, after all, she wrote the poems, sponsored the concert,
Right.
and you know, and was a collaborator, even though we weren't working together. And so you want that person to be happy too, and it seemed like she was. So all these things were going on at the same time. It was very nice.
Yeah. How do you feel about Supreme Master's poetry?
I think she's very good. And these poems all seem to be written in the early to mid-'70s, as near as I could guess, but that may not be so. I never saw any dates on any of them, or very few of them. There were a few that has those dates. And if that's so, I don't know what she would write now, but I know it would be different because, whatever it is, because they were very personal. And a lot of them, these poems that I described that discuss the internal struggle and how difficult it is to come to one with the Supreme Being above,
Right.
who's created everything, and with the Supreme Being inside each of us. That must have been a personal trial that she was going through at that time. These are very emotional and very personal poems, and very fine for that reason. They're all very real. So I'm interested in seeing what she would do now, because the subject would be different. She's passed through those tests. And I think they'd be equally fascinating. They'd be different.
Did you get a chance to see her perform as well?
I did see a little of that, yes. Very good and very cute.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you know much about her works and the things that she has done in the world?
I know some. I know about her fashion designs, and I know about the humanitarian work with emergency relief in areas of natural distress, floods and earthquakes and famine and so on. And I have believed that this is that's a significant amount to work on right there, that this was a lot of her work. And I've seen her artwork, which is magnificent,
Yeah.
her design.
Yeah, she moves me and touches me at how much that she does, and that she is this enlightened master that helps people to become happy, and then to produce such an event, to contribute in this way and give her time. It was just so magnanimous.
Yes,
It really was.
Yeah.
I want to know, when you receive the poetry from Supreme Master Ching Hai, how do you go about imbibing those words with the feeling to making the song come to life? I mean, what's that process like?
You know, it's, for me, and I'm somebody who teaches and wants to articulate every step of the way, It's very intuitive and very instinctive, as was the writing of much of this piece. Now, as carefully as I structured the poems to get it into a libretto, as it were, I then allow my instincts and impulses to and intuition to guide me as a composer, and then I jump in as a more rational being and refine it, edit it, and so on, and develop it. And so the same thing was true with the songs. I find writing songs to be one of the easier musical things that I do. And even on For All We Know, which took a long time for me to get, once I wrote it, it was 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. But preparing myself to that point was at least a week of discomfort before I found an approach. And doing these 5 songs actually was easier than that. I don't know why. I just connected with them, saw what kind of idiom it would be, and let my subconscious write them for me almost.
Does it just flow through you?
It does. Large chunks of it just flowed right through. But that's the best way that the creative process can work anyway, and especially, I think, in music, which tends to be more abstract. I believe it's true with writing as well, and art. But it certainly I've found is true with music, that the more you can cut off the rational part of your mind and just be comfortable with your subconscious, the closer you get to instinct, intuition, and the freer the creative impulse gets. Remember, I had already prepared my subconscious with an enormous amount of study on the poems and a lot of thought about what the function should be of the music and the poetry. And I had been guided by those feelings to decide that I needed to do folk rock, various kinds of material like that, as opposed to other styles. So I kind of had a ballpark to work in, a frame of reference.
Right.
And that makes it easy. Otherwise, it can be very tough.
I found that evening was to me, it was like historical in the fact that you have this great enlightened master that is also very talented in every respect, from her poetry to her music, to her designs, her paintings.
Yes.
That her great love, brought about this magnanimous evening. Mm-hmm. And I would certainly love to see more magnificent evenings like that, just with so much meaning, and the eclecticness of the whole evening, and just how much it gave to people and to the children. And do you foresee us here in the 21st century having more events that are more meaningful like that?
I do. I definitely do, but it takes visionaries.
Like Supreme Master.
Yes, it does.
Indeed.
It does take that.
We are going to end. I just wanted to know if you have any thoughts, or if you'd like to say hello to Supreme Master or share any thoughts with her.
Oh, well, I'd like to thank her for everything involved with the concert and her work, her worldwide work, which is ongoing and which does so much for so many people. As I just said, I think that she's unique and remarkable and has so much to give, which she is giving. Some people have a lot to give and they don't. And others try, but they don't have a lot to give, and that's very admirable. But she has both, and that's very unique. And the fact that she is able to do that is a great gift to me and to everybody. I'm grateful.
Would you like to say hello?
Hello, Supreme Master. We look forward to seeing you again sometime soon.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fred Carlin.
My pleasure.